career alongside Adler. Two players that you rightfully pick out, hugely important, Phil, but they've got to crack the dam of Juve. They've done it before, and as I said in the preview, that bad blood, vitriolic anger that was spilled over from Napoli, that in the Italian Super Cup they wouldn't come out to receive their medals. They felt it was a massive injustice done by them. Everything on the menu here. Revenge for Napoli. And Juve see the Neapolitans as the real danger to retaining their crown.
These two sides played well last year, finishing first and fifth. They're doing even better this season. 6 points better for Juve, 8 points better for Napoli. Asamoah asking for a yellow, and he's not the only one. Clattered into by Pandev, who has made no secret of his wish to erase that Supercopa defeat. Here's Pirlo. Not getting as much love as many would think with the Ballon d'Or talk going on.
He should be.
Whipped in Asamoah.
Absolutely phenomenal season. The evergreen Pirlo. He's going to be shackled by Inler and their army. And Hamsik will be tucking back to do his donkey work on the orchestrator, the cerebral dictator that is Andrea Pirlo.
Poked free. Good hustle by Cavani on the defensive end. Behrami wins it back for Napoli, and look how quickly Cavani gets into the attack. Launched by Barzagli up the line, sent back by Camilo Zuniga. Cavani clatters, and down he goes, just like that robber that Leonardo Bonucci slammed into. Did you hear about that, Ray? On Thursday, out with his family, an armed robber tries to rob the Bonucci family. The Juve defender on the ball now, sticks out his hand, and as the robber reached for the watch, he hit him in the face, and the robber ran away.
Well, you're
the smartest thing he did.
Missing a little important point. He was being faced with a gun directly at his face. Bonucci stood him down.
Whipped inside, cleared away before it finds Lichtsteiner.
I mean, it's one thing being faced by a robber asking for your jewellery, but when you've got a gun pointing at your face, and Bonucci smacked him in the nose.
Little tricky. Maggio in danger. Outside of the boot, shot curls high.
This Napoli side denied Juventus the double, of course, by winning that Coppa Italia last season. As we said, everything on the menu here tonight, battling away, and it's not that they're miles ahead of their rivals. Lazio and Inter Milan just 4 points behind as well, breathing down the neck. This is in a monumental game, although both coaches saying there's too far to go. This isn't going to decide the Scudetto. I'm not so sure. May go a long way to settling it when we look back at the end of the year, and they all know it. Bright start by both teams, 5 minutes in, a rabid crowd. The Zebras absolutely rocking and rolling upstairs. They've been looking forward to this game all week long, since the Italian game is now out of the way against Armenia, concentrating on the domestic league, and Juve back to their best.
Maggio slamming into Chiellini. They both go tumbling. Last 10 between these two, only 3 wins for Juve against 5 defeats, but the last 7 in Turin, they're 5-1-1. And here on their new home ground, I was going to say practically unbeatable. They have been.
Well, as you say, in the last 3 games as well, it's ironed out to completely even Stevens. 1-1-1. Both teams winning and then sharing the last one. This is another great start by little Sebastian. Tricky.
Giovinco into the center. The drop might have been there. Inler.
No, the drop wasn't there. He had Pirlo wide open. Giovinco does well cutting inside, and he had Andrea Pirlo in a big field, and he spots that. We do not want Pirlo given that much space. One.
Camilo Zuniga.
Nice touch.
Slotted through and almost finding the mark. Hamsik.
I tell you what, Barzagli, Bonucci and Chiellini. You could have thrown a lasso around them there. No spacing out between them. But they got the job done. Quagliarella in for Vucinic.
Kind of funny when you think back. Last time these two teams met with a title on the line, it was the Serie B crown. How much things have changed. Both of them back arguably to their best. In fact, for Napoli, not much of an argument that this is the best side since the days of Maradona. Samoa in for Giovinco, tried to flip it forward but couldn't find Quagliarella.
So much has changed from those magical days when Platini and the great Diego crossed swords in those matches, Phil.
Down goes Chiellini again.
Juve had a good Dutchman, Danish player, excuse me, called Michael Laudrup, we remember. There is nowadays Juve going to Nicholas Bentner. Little bit of a difference.
Nowadays Laudrup has a son who's playing and looking like a promising star for the future.
It's no knock on Bentner, of course. And being compared to Michael Laudrup, everybody's going to pale in comparison. But here's that early chance by little Sebastian. Absolutely beautiful dynamic. Driving past Berami, turning the corner, and then that slingshot hit.
Lichtsteiner. Zuniga backs off. Driving in. Bonucci into the corner, back for Lichtsteiner, and then the Swiss cross.
You can almost feel the focus of this crowd on every touch of the ball. Very tense atmosphere. They all know, believe me, the nerves will be there in every one of these players. Don't believe that they don't feel nerves ahead of games like this. Well played again, Sebastian.
Whipped across, but it doesn't find a mark. Finally, back post Asamoah lays it off. The shot goes wide. No problem as the Sanctus starts to break the other way.
Potences are good for Juve. They weren't looking too tricky in their last game. They looked a little jaded, a little tired, and certainly didn't look too sharp against Siena, even though they got the win. But here, today they're not looking as if they're showing any side effects from the international break and the international involvement, because there was a lot of the Juve players who were involved in the internationals, as was a lot of the players wearing the sky blue. But both teams looking very sharp.
Poke free. Well, if Buffon was out there, no doubt where these sides would place, right up there among the best in the world. The 22 starters on the pitch, worth $500 million between them. They're getting their money's worth, though. 6-1-0. Top two offenses, top two defenses in Serie A. And if they weren't going head-to-head today, a chance to put some more between themselves and the rest. Yellow card, Cavani. D'Amato not happy, and I think might be more with the protest than the initial collision.
Oh, Cavani making a very, very bold statement, pulling the referee back. The elbow is raised, he says. I'm not so sure. But, well, the elbow is certainly raised, but how much attempt he plays to get into Chiellini's face, I'm not so sure. It's a little bit of a tough call. The elbow is raised, but there's no action on it. So you can understand how Cavani feels as if he's been hard done by. Maybe just a stern lecture would have been enough. But that's no good telling that poor lad down there. He really got it rattled. You see these huge benches now in Serie A. They are all eligible players, of course. They're not players that are sitting up in the stands looking down. The new rule in Italian football allows massive benches to be called upon. Wealth of talent to go to. Well, not as big as his.
Rough day for Chiellini so far. First with Pandev, now with Cavani. And somewhat interesting to see Mazzari saying calm down as we take a look again at Giovinco.
It's a beautiful cut in the turn, and you'll see he doesn't even spill it. He just gets in the way. He makes no attempt to even catch this ball. The ball dips right in front of him, and a wonderful setup here.
Eduardo Asamoah, more thought to be an inside player, but adapting well to the flank for Juve. Of course, Mazzari also mentioned Pandev and Zuniga, both ejected in that Supercopa. Mazzari followed shortly thereafter. Was not pleased at all. In fact, Napoli didn't even stick around for the presentation.
Well, that was a hugely controversial game. We did that game on BEIN SPORT, and they looked very, very upset, and they had reason to be.
Giovinco, poor ball back. Campagnaro tries to get rid of it, and they will call the foul for clattering into De Santis.
Well, clattering into De Santis, I'm not so sure that this player's got enough height to even challenge Sebastian Giovinco. Beautiful release, lovely ball, keeps on running. Take a look, he reaches in for the ball, there's nothing wrong. He goes to play it fairly squarely, touches it, his momentum carries him through to De Santis. He gets the thumbs up, but I'm not so sure that there was anything wrong with their beautiful run by Sebastian as well. He is looking sharper than a carpet tack out there. There you'll see Hamsik all over Andrea Pirlo all game long. Watch out for that matchup, but there's some wonderful tactical cat and mouse going on there. You've got Maggio up against Asamoah, Zuniga against Lichtsteiner on the other side, and of course that wonderful hitman Edinson Cavani up against, well, Bonucci. Better not pull a gun on him.
Campagnaro, Cannavaro, 400th game for Fabio's brother.
This is the player for me, this Hamsik. All the neutral people looking in, new observers to Serie A, take your eyes off Hamsik for one moment and you'll be sorry. A fabulous little footballer of the highest order, the Slovakian international with the weird hair.
Campagnaro out there for Argentina. Here is Hamsik.
Look out.
3-on-3. Gets around Bonucci. Chip.
What?
Almost finds Pandev. Zuniga with the swing and the miss. Second effort brings it down inside the 18, but Juve comes away.
Hamsik there, driving on, and the open shot is inviting, but he turns away from it and he tries to find Pandev with a beautiful rainbow hit. A beautiful rainbow pass by Hamsik. It just gets cut out. A wonderful defending by Juve. Great stadium, isn't it, Phil?
They got it right this time. Of course, the Del Alpi, widely ridiculed as the worst stadium in Serie A.
Just in Serie A?
One of the worst in the world. Agreed. Again, Chiellini is the one who's hurt even after this collision.
Still didn't stop them from turning on the style points, but it was nothing like this place. This is an imposing stadium. The crowd right on top of you. And this is another nasty blow here.
Again, Del Alpi, one of the coldest stadiums. This one of the warmest.
Here. 15 years involved with coaching at the highest level. Walter, never been sacked. Now, how many Italian managers in history can say that? I'm not so sure that there is one.
Not many coaches in the world anywhere.
But especially Italian football, Phil. I mean, you look how wonderful job Ranieri did with Juve and finished second in his last season. You're sacked. We've seen managers being involved in 2 games in Italian football, and if you don't produce, you're off out the door. Aye, aye.
Looks like Bonucci escaped the gunman, but could not escape this collision.
Well, that's a sad exit. It's not looking good at all. No movement on the player. Bonucci jumps, he lands on it. He doesn't see anything else here. He's losing all his balance and gets it away. But I think it's when he fell, when he rose up to try to head that ball away, and then he came down with his full weight. We'll see. He'll be mistaken.
At the moment, Juve playing short-handed until they can sneak a sub in.
Collision at all.
Chiellini.
At the last moment of that replay, we missed something.
Lichtsteiner has dropped back to help on the back line. Good spin for Giovinco. Nice teamwork in the back. Gambarini and Zuniga. Well, Ray, I talked about the midfield. You talked about the attack. It's the back line. Campagnaro, Cannavaro, Gambarini, the best defense in Italy.
Yeah, Cannavaro particularly playing amazingly well. A man that still hasn't represented his country, which is amazing, my opinion.
Pandev went down the line. Hamsik takes it back. And it's not like the old Italian defenses where it was 10 men back. I mean, many times it's just those three against the world.
Well, the big exclusion for Juve, no matter how much Ferrari is going to be a wonderful replacement, missing Buffon is a huge blow for Juve. What he takes out of the locker room, the personality, his inspirational leadership. Make no mistake, there'll be a drop-off in your spirit, in your side, and it's up to players like Sebastian Giovinco to reinstill that, and he's doing his part, that's for sure.
"46 matches without defeat for Juve, and that run started against Napoli back in May of 2011. Wow. If he comes back out.
It doesn't look like it's the one that I feared most. I thought it might have been his cruciate in his knee, but it looks like he's really just favouring that muscle area, so he must have taken a knee into that right before he went off. So it looks like Bonucci's going to try to come back in. You can hear by the applause. He says, "I'm not just sure, boss." He's struggling. Looks like he's going to have to come out, Phil.
Maybe just getting him in until Lucio and the rest can get loose.
I've seen the doctor there, the physiotherapist, giving the coach all the information.
Of course, it was Massimo Carrera who had been pulling the strings in Antonio Conte's suspension, but his assistant Angelo Alessio taking over now that his suspension was cut. And instead of the entire year, it looks like we could see Conte back on the sideline in January. Pirlo from the flag. Again, D'Amato sees something he doesn't like.
2 assists for Andrea Pirlo against Armenia. So the eye of the tiger still glinting in this wonderful player on top of the ball.
This will whip away from the Sanctis. Near post, glances across.
Fabulous set play this. Wonderfully rehearsed and brought to the show lights perfectly. Wonderful hit from Andrea Pirlo, and man meeting it on the front post, just not angling it enough. But a wonderful set piece by Juve that could have led to real destruction for Napoli.
You talk about Pirlo. He also suffered a few bruises against Armenia. And no matter how good Juve is and how deep they are, missing Buffon and Vucinic bad enough.
Yeah.
Missing Pirlo might be fatal. Tucked inside, good step up. And Chiellini on his horse. Hard ball back. Storari. Well, got it done. Out to Vidal.
Bonucci moving better now as well.
On the turn, one touch and then launching it for Giovinco.
Magisterial pass.
Tries to freeze Campagnaro. Cross inside. Campagnaro can't clear. Corner kick, Juve.
Absolutely brilliant by Andrea Pirlo to set that little diamond off to the races. He turns Marek Hamsik inside out like an old sock. Absolutely beautiful. And then the release over distance to hit it split millimetre perfect into the path of little Giovinco.
Inswinger. Down goes Behrami, rattles off Giovinco, goal kick. Appears to be okay. Now we have the magic ice bag.
Completely sold out stadium here today. There's that many people outside of this stadium as there is inside here in Turin.
Holds about 41,000. Giorgio Nicolai, one of the assistants. Antonio D'Amato, the referee, just 40 years of age, out of Barletta, and a bit of controversy, especially following all of the disasters in the Supercopa. D'Amato, only a top-flight ref for a couple of seasons, never in the Champions League, and many said to put these two teams with their bad blood and the league lead on the line might be asking too much. Done well so far, though. Flipped on, Quagliarella, Giovinco feeds him back. Cannavaro in pursuit, Giovinco in the box. Gambarini comes over. Good ball in, but Campagnaro read it well. The gift wraps it right past Behrami.
Magic.
Wadwa Asamoah, was there a touch? Yes, there was.
Wonderful play from this tremendous Ghanaian international. Oh, he's not getting it. And he and she cannot believe it.
Overruled at the last moment.
Well, Kojo thought he got a little touch past the defender, and then Napoli got the last touch on that, but referee's assistant there behind the goal seeing it a different way, I believe.
By the way, not the first time that D'Amato has reffed these two. Back in 2009, his first season, Napoli played in Turin. It was the 3-2 victory.
Well, that's a good omen for Napoli. The last time they saw the ref here was victory for the Sky Blues. But it's these black shirts without their stripes. The zebras are still looking a horse of a different colour, especially this kid.
Might be the best we've seen from Giovinco this year, but can't break in the 18. Give credit to the Napoli back line. And Ray, we've seen the effort on the offensive side as Hamsik held up. But for the two top scoring teams in Serie A, it's the defenses that are winning so far. 20 minutes left in the first. BEIN Sport, plenty more action coming your way, including Genoa against Roma. No word whether Bradley will be in there.
Beautiful ball from Zuniga.
A trip just outside the 18. Inler pushing forward, and that's just blades of grass away from a penalty.
Definitely a clip. No question about it. Beautiful ball played in from Zuniga. Right here, into stride. Vidal again. He pulled a little machete out when it's needed. He has been doing that at will for Chile.
Sometimes too much.
Exactly. This is a great position for Ensign. Look out for the pullback to the top of the box as well. And the danger initially seems inside of the box.
Three-man wall. Cavani into the corner of the upright. Still in play. Far side. Maggio.
What a strike from Edinson. Goes for gold and he's a whisker away.
Pandef. Maggio tries to get around Asamoah but can't.
The audacity, absolute audacity of the Uruguayan international with a spellbinding shot. I'm talking about the danger inside and the danger of the pullback in Edinson. Goes for gold. A fabulously astonishing technique.
Well, Ray, only one practice. He missed his first flight back from Uruguay. Of course, at the same point, he might have still been buried under the pillow after Bolivia pounded them 4-1, but obviously he didn't need much more practice.
And wonderful management as well by Mazzari, saying, I don't care if he missed 2 flights, he's in the team. He's starting and he'll be as fresh as a daisy. Well, he's just advertised that the boss knows what he's talking about. Beautiful hit. Talking of beautiful.
Pirlo. Far side, Marchisio up the line, Asamoah.
Danger player, this guy, man.
Maggio back on defense. Asamoah looked like he was going for gold at that near post, but DeSantis down quickly.
Marvellous by the ex-Udinese man. Plenty of drive and commitment. Wonderful width, always willing to join in the attack. And also going the other way, he'll be the first back on his cavalry horse to defend. Wonderful by Kojo Asamoah.
We have not seen a goal yet, but what a performance we have seen between these two. Napoli's turn now on center stage. Beframi. Campagnaro.
There's a sharpness, isn't there, about this blue team. It's the Blacks of Juve that have been a little bit more in control, a little bit more in possession of the ball, but they know they've got a tiger by the tail on Behrami's side. So to crack the dam first would be huge for the home team, but this Napoli side, they've got sharp teeth, man. Lovely turn, unlucky.
A little bit of a hook that brings down Inler.
Yeah, his first touch was wonderful. Inler standing off it. That's it to get away, and it's certainly a bit too aggressive. 46 games undefeated at home, Phil Shane, this Juve side.
Record for an undefeated streak as Zuniga slowly gets to his feet. And a yellow card. They do call the foul. Lichtsteiner disagrees.
Wonderful control by these Italian referees, getting all of that wonderful emotion.
Sounds more poetic in Italian. Vidal in the book again.
Sing it to you in opera and it wouldn't make any difference. Arturo Vidal
does have a sharp edge to him.
Wonderful compliment though to the baton swirling Pirlo, excuse me.
Out wide, Campagnaro. Gets it back. Pandev playing traffic cop. Behrami one touch too many, and Pirlo bats it back to midfield. 16 Juve players in international play this past week. Shows the depth that they have built up since their return. Samoa tangled and gets the call.
I'd say the Juve players wing an armband here today, Phil, in recognition and respect for the recently departed Juve legend Helmut Haller. Remember that guy, man. As a kid, watching him score the opening goal in the World Cup final against England at Wembley in 1966. Rest in peace, Helmut Haller.
Passed away last Thursday, and hard to see the black on black, but it is there on every Juve player.
Yeah, played for Juve from 68 to 73, so he wasn't just a bit player. He's an immortal here. Just hops away from him.
Cannavaro gets down in time. Inler somersaults over the ball.
The ball from Behrami was a little bit of a hospital ball because it comes in hopping right at Inler, and he does well to get out of that. Lichtsteiner turning him upside down. Good turn. Well defended again.
And Behrami keeps it alive. Malone Behrami seems to have refound himself. Disappeared a bit after leaving Lazio.
Pirlo it is, it's snapping away here. You see too much wrong. Goes down a little easily, doesn't he? Inlet. But it leads to this.
Out wide. Campagnaro in. Almost found Cavani. battle that is between Quagliarella and Behrami. Cannavaro again, so smart on the ball. Condev gets the poke on Chiellini. Napoli gets the ball back.
Game's gone through a few different paces, hasn't it? Right from the very get-go, the fizz started at both ends. The last 10-15 minutes, it's settled down into a little bit more careful approach play by both sides, feeling each other out a little bit more, trying to find the code that unlock that defensive mechanism. It's well put together by both these teams. We sung the praises before Barzagli, Bonucci and Chiellini, and rightfully so, and tit for tat at the other end, and the men led by Cannavaro.
Off for Gambarini, many ways the lost man, the forgotten man on that back three. Indler finds a gap, pokes it through, but well, Hamsik makes it work. Soft chip Cavani, little spin, Cavani, and he'll win the corner.
Hamsik goes the surprising route, trying to find Cavani with this little pass. It would have taken a hell of a ball for it to be in stride and on the inside, because it's well protected by Bonucci. But again, that invention of the Sky Blues, always the threat.
Indler headed in by Chiellini, and his keeper grabs hold.
Some space here.
Vidal faked the long range shot, then puts the brakes on.
Again, he's looking up for the positive release, but there's just nothing.
Giovinco a bit closer.
There is now.
Flipped back, but offside the call against Quagliarella. The Napoli man by birth, Juve today.
Great call, wonderful invention again, this time by little Sebastian Giovinco. Seeing the run early, but seeing the run half a step too early. Couldn't have released it any quicker. Onus always on the attacker to stay on the shoulder of that defender. This guy has made an art of it. Calling for handball there. Cleverly gets away with it.
What a scene. And again, Ray, going back to the days at the Del Alpi, the team might even be overshadowed by the stadium and its fans. Quagliarella, second effort, as Pirlo snuck up the center channel. Giovinco, too much on it. Zuniga. Almost slotted through. Gambarini slips. Quagliarella slams it away. Does Gambarini?
Trying to release little Giovinco, who's been very, very slippery in the opening 35 minutes. And Quagliarella knows exactly where he's running off of him. Oh, doing a good job replacing Mirko Vucinic. Got a good understanding going here between himself and Giovinco.
Barzagli slams it against
precious
Monk.
little space though for both these attacking, wonderful attacking teams to find, Phil. I mean, they're going to have to be pinpoint perfect, and the runs are going to have to be even more elusive in this game. It's an intriguing match, very absorbing game. But they're tighter than a suit of armour at the back, both these teams.
Campagnaro follows Cannavaro's suggestion. De Sanctis across midfield. Have not quite seen that lightning quick counter from Napoli yet. Juve's had numbers back. Here Cavani and Pirlo do battle.
Nothing there. And again, Cavani's got an absolute axe to grind. He lost it again with the referee, but he's going to have to be careful. Didn't see anything wrong with that one, though. His cleats were down. His point of his boot was reaching forward and made contact with the ball. Get this, there's no time on the ball in this midfield engine room, man.
And again, Juve
magic
on the attack. Jovinko
lovely football,
sneaks it wide. Asamoah can't get it past Paolo Cannavaro again. Ray was playing against Napoli that convinced Conte to go to 3 men in the back, and now both of them are doing it. That means 10 men in the midfield, and that is where things are running aground. Substitution, or no? Well, that might be our first blink by the referee. Foul throw the call. And now it will be Napoli's. Last year, Juve winning at home 3-0. 3 goals in the second half. Scoreless through 53. Needed another second half comeback in Napoli earlier in November. 2 goals between the 72nd and 79th minute. Estegaribia and Simone Pepe, neither here today to fight back from the 3-1 deficit.
Good run by Hamsik. Impossible ball was required.
Sending it wide.
So tight.
Maggio sees it poked off his boot. Chiellini. Campagnaro gets help. Inler. More complete player than when he first came to the scene. Asamoah prepared for the challenge, but surrenders the ball to Pandev. Assistant on the far side, Tonellini, saying there was contact.
Oren Pandev, one of the players that was sent off in that battle in Beijing, China, and that was seemingly very unfair in my opinion, being sent off for seemingly verbally abusing the linesman from 45-50 yards. He didn't give him the red.
Ball flipped into the corner. Lichtsteiner.
Been quiet on this near side, hasn't he? But why is that, do you think? Well, certain number 18 taking the throw in here. Zuniga absolutely taking care of Stefan Lichtsteiner.
Also got to keep an eye on Cavani, who has been all over the front line. Up steps Behrami, but now a bit out of position.
Good play.
Asamoah.
Good ball.
Quickly to Vidal. And the Chilean hesitates. Good job by Inler. Lichtsteiner wide into Zuniga, out for the corner. Cannavaro and Vidal get tangled. I can remember that one run by Lichtsteiner where he went right in the center channel at the 6-yard box. That's about it. Normally, he's upfield as much as Quagliarella or Giovinco. Pirlo. Cavani. Again Cavani. Little lean. And Giovinco gets the late call against him.
Gets the call from the referee's assistant, if I'm not mistaken. Little Giovinco looking up at big Cavani for this. He's getting called. And Cavani senses him coming in with the challenge. And again, the arm goes out. Well, not so sure. Walter Mazzarri actually nearly quit his position after that game in Beijing, China. He was so upset and disgusted by the refereeing in that game. But his team's in fine fettle now.
Inler swept in, Cavani off the chest. Back in time, Claudio Marchisio. Juve fans getting a bit upset. Inler. Back wide for Maggio. And the pass off target, actually Campagnaro.
Well, as this game goes on, both sets of forwards going to have to continue making these hard, hurtful runs, those quick, elusive jackrabbit runs into the box to try to find a chink in the armour. And that's at both ends. But for Napoli, as this game goes on, they've got two players that we'll probably see in the second half in Eduardo Vargas and Lorenzo Insigne that are real electrical players. And this game taking a lot out of the forwards. It may not look as much, but believe me, they're trying their best to find any couple of yards of room and rely on their midfielders to find them in between those passing lanes, but they're burning it up out there. So the substitutes bench is going to be of major importance in that second half, Phil.
Well, they don't like to pull Cavani much, and he is so fit, they normally don't need to. One thing that Insigne and Vargas do gives them a much different look than with Pandev or Lavezzi from last year.
In a game like this, though, that's my point, that it's so incredibly watertight, this. And we've seen it, the wonderful players being suffocated by this tremendous defensive approach by both teams. That's still in play.
Cavani gave up on
release.
Again, Pirlo. Strong run for the big man Chiellini. In for Giovinco. Chiellini cleans up after himself. Inler pokes it
nicely.
Free.
Wide man's got to be played.
And Pirlo does, but intercepted by Giovinco. Pirlo with Lichtsteiner. Now they pull Inler out of the center. Vidal wants the give and go. Almost snuck through Quagliarella. Ball in. Blasted just over the bar by Marchisio.
A fabulous hit. But it's beautifully set up. Italian international gets set up here by Lichtsteiner's continual approach. But, man, Juve kept it alive beautifully there, didn't they? That must have been a 25 pass move there to lead up to that. But again, no way through the Neapolitans. That's a great run. He's got a lot to do here now.
With a push and a shove. Maggio now on the other flank. Spun down to the turf with Barzagli.
Referee right on top. Look at the spacing of the referee. May not agree with it, Juve fans, but you cannot deny that the referee's got perfect position. Maggio's set away after the races. He's being pulled back. And he's certainly going to go down when he feels his shirt being pulled like this. Tense. Everybody working like demons for that half a yard of room, and it ain't being given.
Hamsik. Towards the spot, diving header clears. Behrami couldn't control. Inler sees his shot deflected. Launching it long, looking for a break, but the speed of Zuniga there to save the day. And that will do it on what has been a rather rapid first 45 minutes.
I'll say, it may not be lighting up the scoreboard like a pinball machine, but it's been as active